Have you ever walked away from a conversation with a woman feeling like it went well, but later wondered if you missed something deeper, something she was trying to tell you without saying it outright? Maybe she asked a question that seemed casual, like, "How old are you really?" Or, "Why aren't you married?" And you brushed it off, not realizing it was her way of opening a door to something more. If you're a man over 50, these moments happen more often than you think, and missing them could mean missing a real connection. In this video, we're diving into the subtle signs of attraction that women send, those quiet questions, sideways glances, and non-verbal cues that are easy to overlook but carry profound meaning. You need to watch until the end because we're breaking down 8 specific questions women ask when they're interested, along with exactly how to respond to keep the door open, so you can stop second-guessing and start recognizing the moments that could change everything. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video. You can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know, so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. Question number 1. How old are you? At first, this question can feel like a jab, maybe even a touch judgmental, as if she's sizing up your life choices. But when a woman asks, "Why aren't you married?" especially with a soft voice, a curious tilt of her head, or a gentle pause before she speaks, it's not an interrogation. It's a signal, carefully wrapped in a casual tone. She's not digging for your romantic resume or trying to unearth old wounds for sport. What she's asking is, are you emotionally available? Is there room in your life for someone like me? This is a moment of vulnerability disguised as curiosity, and how you respond can either deepen the connection or shut it down before it has a chance to grow. Unfortunately, this is where many men stumble. Some launch into a detailed recounting of their past divorces, heartbreaks, missed opportunities, as if she's asked for a full biography. Others go the opposite route, getting defensive or bitter, brushing it off with a curt, "Tried marriage once, never again," or a sarcastic, "Why would I sign up for that headache?" Both responses miss the mark. The first buries her in baggage she didn't ask for, while the second slams the door on possibility, signaling that you're still carrying unresolved pain or cynicism. Either way, you've taken a moment that could have been an opening and turned it into a dead end. What she's looking for isn't a play-by-play of your past, but a sense of your present. She wants to know if you're at peace with where life has taken you, if you've unpacked the suitcase of your history, or if you're still dragging it behind you. The best answers are simple, honest, and grounded, leaving room for possibility without dwelling on the past. Try something like, "Life's kept me busy, but I'm open to something real now," or "I haven't found the right woman yet, maybe I'm getting closer." These responses don't just answer the question, they invite her to imagine herself in your future. Let me tell you about Gerald, a 67-year-old widower with a quiet demeanor and hands that tell stories of a life spent working with wood and soil. One afternoon, while tending to a community garden, he struck up a conversation with a woman over a row of tomatoes. She was warm, quick to laugh, and their chat flowed effortlessly. Then came the moment. She asked, "So, how come a man like you isn't married?" Gerald froze. His mind flashed to his late wife, the years of grief, the solitude that followed. Unsure how to respond, he mumbled something vague about things not working out, and quickly changed the subject to the weather. The conversation continued, but a week later, he noticed she stopped showing up at the garden. Reflecting on it later, Gerald realized his mistake. "I didn't see it then," he told me, "but she wasn't just being polite. She was asking because she was thinking about us. I shut it down without even knowing." This is the subtlety of these moments. They don't come with flashing signs or bold declarations. They arrive quietly, dressed in everyday questions that seem harmless until you realize, too late, what they meant. From a psychological perspective, this question is a form of risk assessment. She's feeling something, a spark of interest, but she's not ready to lay her cards on the table unless she knows it's safe. If your answer feels guarded, bitter, or overly heavy, she'll retreat, protecting herself from potential rejection or emotional unavailability. But if you respond with calm confidence, a touch of warmth, and an openness to what's possible, you create a space where she feels safe to lean in. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Question number 3. Do you date younger women? This question often catches men off guard, like a curveball they didn't see coming. Some take it as a compliment, puffing up with pride as if they've been handed a badge of desirability. Others treat it like a trap, bracing for judgment or assuming they need to tread carefully. But here's the truth. When a woman asks, "Do you date younger women?" she's not usually asking about your dating history or trying to catch you in a lie. She's testing the waters, quietly and carefully, to see if you're open to someone like her. More than that, she's asking, "Could you see me as more than just a friend? Does the connection we're building right now matter to you, or are you chasing something else entirely?" This isn't about age alone. It's about permission. She's exploring the possibility of attraction without exposing herself to rejection. Most of the time, she's not looking for a blunt yes or no. She wants an answer that makes her feel seen, valued, and not compared to some idealized version of a partner you might have in your head. Unfortunately, this is where many men falter. Some lean into bravado, boasting about younger women they've dated as if they're auditioning for a role in a movie about eternal youth. Others shut down entirely, saying things like, "I'm way too old for you," dismissing the possibility before she can even clarify her intentions. Both responses miss the point. Bragging makes her feel like a number in a lineup, while deflection tells her you're not interested in exploring what's right in front of you. The better approach is to focus on connection, not calculation. Try saying, "I don't date by age, I date by energy and connection. If we click, that's what matters." Or, with a touch of charm, "I care more about how a woman makes me feel than when she was born." These answers shift the focus from arbitrary numbers to the present moment, signaling that you're open to her without making her feel judged or dismissed. To bring this to life, let me tell you about Marcus, a 59-year-old man with a sharp wit and a knack for putting people at ease. One afternoon, he met a woman in her mid-40s at his favorite bookstore. She asked for a recommendation on a memoir, and their conversation spilled into coffee across the street. As they laughed and swapped stories, she leaned back and asked, "Do you usually date younger women?" Marcus paused, took a breath, and said, "I like women who bring good energy. Doesn't matter if they're younger or older, just matters that we click." Her smile wasn't polite, it was intrigued. That coffee led to dinner, and dinner led to something more. This is what presence looks like in action. It's about responding with authenticity and warmth, not fumbling when the question seems layered. Psychologically, this question is a woman's way of navigating vulnerability. She's feeling a connection, but she's gauging whether you're open to it or if you're stuck on some rigid idea of who you should be with. If your answer feels dismissive or overly focused on youth, she'll pull back, assuming there's no room for her. But if you meet her with clarity and a hint of curiosity, you signal that you're willing to explore what's possible together. At our age, attraction isn't about pickup lines or proving you can keep up. It's about showing up as yourself and responding in a way that builds trust and leaves room for possibility. When she asks if you date younger women, she's not always asking about age. She's asking if she has a chance. That door is cracked open right in front of you. The only question is whether you respond in a way that invites her to step through or let it quietly close. Question number 4. What kind of woman do you usually go for? This question might come across as casual, almost like small talk to fill a lull in conversation. But when a woman asks, "What kind of woman do you usually go for?" she's doing far more than making conversation. She's comparing herself to the picture you're about to paint, measuring whether she fits into the frame of your desires or if she's outside the lines. This isn't about creating a checklist or filling out a dating profile. It's about seeing if she has a chance to be the woman you're looking for. She's asking, "Could I be your type? Do I align with what you value?" And your answer will either affirm her interest or quietly signal that the connection might not go further. Here's where many men often miss the mark. They take the question too literally, launching into a detailed description of their ideal partner, someone who's tall, athletic, loves hiking, has dark hair, and enjoys craft beer, as if they're placing a custom order at a restaurant. What they don't realize is that she's watching closely, listening to not just your words but what your answer reveals about how you view women. She's wondering if you're stuck on a superficial image, chasing an outdated fantasy that stopped making sense years ago, or if you're open to a real connection with the woman sitting across from you. A laundry list of traits can make her feel like she's being measured against an impossible standard, and if she doesn't match your description, Say, she's not a runner or her hair is blonde. She might quietly assume she's not your type and pull back. The better move is to answer with intention, focusing on qualities that are meaningful and universal enough to include her if she's interested. Say something like, I'm drawn to women who are thoughtful, who bring a sense of curiosity and warmth to a conversation, someone who can find humor even on a rough day. Or, I like women who are real, authentic, confident, and who make me want to show up better. These answers don't box her out with specific criteria. They create a space where she can see herself in your words and feel like she has a chance to connect. To illustrate, let me share a story about Elliot, a 62-year-old retired firefighter with a weathered smile and a heart full of quiet strength. He met a woman through a volunteer project, and their easy rapport grew as they worked side by side on a community cleanup. One afternoon, while painting a fence, she asked, "So, what kind of woman do you usually go for?" Without overthinking, Elliot replied, "I guess I like someone calm, someone who makes a space feel peaceful just by being there." She didn't say anything right away, but later that day, she stayed behind to help clean up the brushes. As he thanked her, she smiled and said, "I was hoping I was your type." This is the power of answering with presence, not performance. You're not reciting a script or trying to impress. You're creating a moment where attraction can take root. Psychologically, this question is a form of self-selection. She's gathering subtle clues to decide whether to invest more of herself in the interaction or to protect herself from rejection. If your answer feels rigid or overly focused on an ideal, it signals that you might not be open to her as she is. But if you speak to the qualities that matter, qualities she can recognize in herself, you affirm her interest and invite her to lean in closer. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Question number 5. Are you always this charming? This question often arrives wrapped in a smile, perhaps accompanied by a soft laugh or a playful tilt of the head. It feels like a compliment on the surface, and it is, but it's also so much more. When a woman asks, "Are you always this charming?" she's not just acknowledging your wit or charisma. She's signaling something deeper, a spark of connection, a flicker of attraction that she's brave enough to name but careful enough to veil as a question. It's a delicate dance, one that invites you to step forward without demanding it outright. In that moment, she's doing 2 things at once. She's letting you know she feels the chemistry, and she's testing whether you can hold that energy without letting it slip through your fingers. For many men, this is a pivotal moment they don't fully recognize. The question is an opening, a rare window where attraction rises to the surface, soft but unmistakable. The compliment is genuine, but the subtext is what matters most. She's wondering, can you meet me at this moment? Can you stay present with the warmth I'm offering, or will you shy away from it? It's not about whether you're charming 24/7. It's about whether you can handle the vulnerability of her noticing you, without deflecting or turning it into a punchline. Unfortunately, this is where a lot of men falter. They sense the shift in the air but retreat out of instinct or discomfort. They might toss out a self-deprecating quip like, "Only on Tuesdays," or a vague, "Guess I'm having a good day." These responses, while safe, are like letting the air out of a balloon. The spark she offered dims, and the moment passes. Why? Because those answers signal a retreat from the connection she's trying to build. They say, "I'm not ready to meet you here." Instead, what works is a response that's light yet grounded, playful yet sincere. Try something like, "Only when I'm around someone who brings it out of me," or, "I save it for moments that feel like this." These answers don't just keep the conversation going. They validate her courage in opening the door and invite her to step through it with you. Let me share a story about Alan, a 68-year-old widower with a quiet demeanor and a love for literature. At a dinner party, he found himself seated across from a woman named Margaret, who shared his passion for old films and classic novels. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, and as the evening wound down, she leaned in slightly, her eyes twinkling, and said, "Are you always this charming, or is it just tonight?" Alan could have brushed it off, but instead, he paused, met her gaze, and replied with a gentle smile, "That depends. Are you always this curious, or am I just lucky?" Margaret's eyes lingered on his, and later, she admitted that his response made her feel seen, not just as a conversationalist, but as a woman. That moment, Alan said, felt like the start of something real. They're still in touch, meeting for coffee and bookshop visits months later. Psychologically, this question is a masterclass in subtle escalation. Women, especially in midlife or later years, often communicate interest indirectly, not because they're playing games, but because they're navigating their vulnerability. Asking, "Are you always this charming?" is a way of saying, "I feel something here, and I'm curious if you do too." It's an invitation to deepen the connection without forcing either of you to leap too far, too fast. Your response matters because it signals whether you're emotionally available, whether you're willing to engage in this delicate dance of flirtation. A good answer doesn't overpromise or overplay. It simply shows her you're present, you see her, and you're not afraid to let the moment breathe. So, if a woman ever asks if you're always this charming, resist the urge to deflect. Lean into the moment. Let your tone, your eyes, and your words say, "I'm here, and I'm not afraid of this connection." Because when you do, you create a space where she feels safe to keep exploring, keep flirting, keep opening up. And that's where the real magic begins. Question number 6. Why don't you have a girlfriend? This question might seem straightforward, even casual, but don't be fooled. It's one of the most revealing signs of a woman's interest. When she asks, "Why don't you have a girlfriend?" she's not just making small talk or filling a silence. She's probing, gently but deliberately, to understand your emotional landscape. She's asking, "Are you open to love? Is there space in your life for someone like me? Have you closed the door on intimacy, or are you still capable of letting someone in?" It's a question that carries weight, and how you answer can either invite her closer or signal that your heart is off limits. Many men, without realizing it, respond in ways that shut the conversation down. They might say, "I'm too set in my ways," or "I like my freedom too much," or even, "Relationships are just too much hassle at this point." These answers, while honest, often come across as guarded or cynical. They send a message, "I'm not available, not really." And just like that, the woman who was brave enough to ask feels like she's hit a wall. She might smile and nod, but inside, she's retreating, not because she's lost interest, but because your response suggested there's no room for her to step closer. The truth is, she's not just asking about your relationship status. She's asking about your emotional availability, whether you're still open to the possibility of connection, or whether life's disappointments have hardened you. The best response is one that leaves the door ajar, one that hints at hope and possibility without making promises you can't keep. Try saying, "I've been taking my time, waiting for someone who feels like a real surprise," or "I've been focused on living well, but I'm always open to something that feels right." These answers don't just answer the question, they keep the conversation alive, giving her a reason to stay curious, to keep wondering about you. Let me tell you about William, a 71-year-old retired architect with a sharp sense of style and a calm, confident presence. He was at a gallery opening, admiring a painting, when a woman named Evelyn struck up a conversation. They talked about art, travel, and the little joys of life after retirement. After a while, Evelyn leaned in, her voice soft but direct, and asked, "Why don't you have a girlfriend?" William didn't flinch. He looked at her, his eyes steady, and said, "I've been busy learning how to be a better man. Now I'm ready for a better kind of love." Evelyn didn't look away. Later that evening, she admitted to a friend that William's response made her feel like he was someone worth knowing, someone who hadn't given up on connection. They've since gone on several dates, each one deepening their bond. From a psychological perspective, this question is a woman's way of gauging your openness without exposing too much of her own heart. Women in midlife and beyond are often just as afraid of rejection as men are, if not more so. They've lived through their heartbreaks, losses, or long seasons of solitude, and asking a question like this is a brave act. It's a bid for connection, a way of saying, "I'm interested, but I need to know if it's safe to keep going." Your answer is your chance to show her that you're not just single. You're available, emotionally and energetically, for something real. So, when she asks why you don't have a girlfriend, don't give her a reason to close the door. Give her a reason to step through it, to stay curious, to see you as a man who's still open to being surprised by love. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Question number 7. Would you ever date someone like me? This is the big one, the question that feels like a confession whispered in a moment of courage. When a woman asks, "Would you ever date someone like me?" she's not fishing for compliments or playing a game. She's laying her heart on the line, as vulnerably as she can without saying the words outright. This question, often delivered with a light tone, a nervous laugh, or a glance away, is as close as she might come to saying, "I'm interested in you, and I'm wondering if you could feel the same." It's not about someone like her. It's about her. And in that moment, she's taking a risk, hoping you'll meet her with the same bravery. Too many men miss this moment or mishandle it. They freeze, unsure of what to say, or they play it safe with a vague, "I don't know maybe," or a subject change that leaves her feeling exposed. Worse, some deflect with humor that lands flat, like, "Someone like you? I'd have to think about that." These responses, even if well-intentioned, can make her wish she'd never asked. They signal discomfort or disinterest, and just like that, she pulls back, not because she didn't mean it, but because she feels alone in her vulnerability. The right response doesn't need to be poetic or grandiose. It just needs to be honest, warm, and present. Try saying, "I'd consider myself lucky if I could," or, "If someone like you is asking, I'd be a fool to say no." Then pause. Let the words settle. Let her feel the weight of your sincerity. I'll never forget the story of Charlie, a 66-year-old former military man with a gruff exterior but a kind heart. He was on a walk with a woman named Linda, someone he'd met through mutual friends. They'd been taking things slowly, enjoying long conversations about life, family, and the simple beauty of a sunset. One evening, as the sky turned golden, Linda stopped walking, looked at him, and asked quietly, "Would you ever date someone like me?" Charlie didn't rush to answer. He turned to her, his face softening, and said, "I think I'd be a fool not to." Linda didn't respond right away. She just reached for his hand, and they kept walking, the silence between them warm and full of possibility. Psychologically, this question is a woman's way of testing the waters while protecting her heart. In midlife or later years, women are often acutely aware of their vulnerabilities. They've lived through enough to know that love isn't guaranteed, and asking this question is an act of courage, a way of saying, "I'm still here, still hoping, still willing to try." Your response is your chance to honor that courage, to let her know she's seen, valued, and wanted. You don't need to make promises or declare your undying love. You just need to show up, fully present, and let her know that her vulnerability wasn't a mistake. So, when she asks if you'd ever date someone like her, recognize the weight of the moment. It's not a test, it's a gift. Meet it with honesty, warmth, and a touch of courage of your own. Because when you do, you're not just answering a question. You're telling her that she's still capable of stirring something real, something worth feeling. Bonus: the power of nonverbal clues. Not every sign of interest comes in the form of a question. Sometimes, the loudest messages are the ones she doesn't say out loud. Mature women, in particular, are often masters of subtlety, communicating their feelings through gestures, glances, and the quiet language of the body. If you're not paying attention, you might miss these signals entirely, and with them, the chance to deepen a connection. Have you ever noticed a woman tilt her head slightly while you're speaking, her eyes holding yours just a fraction longer than feels casual? Or maybe she laughs at something you said, even when it wasn't particularly funny, her smile lingering as if she's savoring the moment. These aren't random. They're deliberate, often unconscious, invitations to notice her. Then there are the physical cues, a light touch on your arm when she makes a point, standing just a bit closer than necessary, mirroring your posture, or leaning in when you do. These are signs that she's not just present, she's engaged, aware of you, and hoping you're aware of her in return. I think of Daniel, a 70-year-old widower who hadn't dated in over a decade. He joined a local film club and met a woman named Claire, who started sitting beside him at screenings. Over time, he noticed small things: the way she'd lean toward him during discussions, the way her hand brushed his when she passed him a coffee, the way her eyes lingered when they said goodbye. He didn't think much of it at first, dismissing it as friendliness. But when Claire stopped showing up as often, Daniel realized how much he missed those small moments of warmth. "She was waiting for me to notice," he told me later, regret in his voice. "I didn't see it until she was gone." Physiologically, humans are wired to pick up on these nonverbal cues. Eye contact, proximity, and mirroring are primal signals of attraction, rooted in the biology of connection. But as we age, especially after loss or long periods of solitude, we can become skeptical of what we see. We tell ourselves, she's just being polite, or I'm reading too much into this. But what if you're not? What if her lingering glance or gentle touch is her way of saying, I see you, and I'm hoping you see me too? Your job isn't to overanalyze or second-guess. It's to stay present, to notice the details you might have overlooked in your younger, busier years. Watch her eyes, her posture, the rhythm of her breathing when she's listening to you. Ask yourself, what is she telling me without words? Because sometimes, the most meaningful signals come not in questions, but in the quiet spaces between them, where connection, curiosity, and possibility live. That's a wrap on decoding those subtle signs of attraction that women send, especially after 50. We've walked through the quiet questions, the nonverbal cues, and the moments that might have slipped by unnoticed, until now. So, what have you learned so far? Maybe it's recognizing that a casual question like, "Are you always this charming?" is more than just small talk, or perhaps it's the power of staying present and grounded when a woman opens that door. I want to hear from you. What's one thing you've learned from this video that you're going to bring into practice in your life? Drop it in the comments below and let's keep this conversation going. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more real conversations to help you live your best life.